So welcome. Notice the stillness. It is there, available for you. Always, always there. Everything you perceive bathed in the stillness, bathed in silence, bathed in peace. We have the habit of following form, whatever appears to us. We have the habit of chasing stuff, which is not always necessary. There is a magical order in life. Things unfold. They present themselves to us. Out of the totality. Our job is not to worry and be concerned, but to discover a way of being with what appears to us, a way that is peaceful, that is helpful for everybody. Meeting the situation as a pure awareness, without dragging the past, worries and concerns about what's going to happen to me. So we can let go of this me paradigm, the spinning wheel of self-concern, because it's useless for you. It makes you ill, confuses your mind and your body. So you can relax in being. Awareness resting in itself, as itself, for no reason. Its very nature is restfulness. And you only chase stuff and avoid stuff because you believe there is a danger to you because you assume yourself to be somebody. But what if you don't assume yourself to be somebody? This moment, right now, simply be not knowing without history, fresh, new, every moment, every instant. It is possible to meet every moment freshly. This ordinary awareness. It's inherently free. There is nothing that you need to do. The current of love carries you, nourishes you, feeds you. Simply to be available, which is not a doing, it's more of a letting go, relaxing, which is what our true nature is, relaxed. So today I wanted to talk about ordinary awareness, but it's so silly because we all know firsthand awareness because we are this awareness. What am I to tell you that you don't already know? Maybe it's just reminders that this awareness is formless. It's not a female or male awareness. It is awareness which perceives everything it perceives, whether it's a thought or a memory or a bodily sensation. It perceives it in complete intimacy, meaning zero distance, oneness, the perceived and the perceiver as one. Like in your night dreams, everything you perceive is made out of you, the dreamer. In the waking state, it's the same awareness. Everything you perceive is made out of you. There is no separation, no distance. Separation is a belief, an unhappy modality. You are the love that you seek. It's all already done. It's done. It's a done deal. You are the freedom, the love. You don't need to imagine yourself to be somebody. Because when you imagine yourself to be somebody, you separate yourself from the totality. You introduce division, opposition within yourself, or no one's benefit. So dive into the ocean, swim in the ocean of love, in the ocean of compassion, of beauty, of peace. All is well, always. There is no loss or gain in reality. Coming and going is just a mind impression, just an impression. Birth and death, nothing happens to you. You are the light of awareness. Right now and every moment, shining. The heart, the core, the source. Yes. This understanding is available to you always. It's yours. So you can turn your attention inwardly. to the source, the source which you are. So you can know yourself directly as the light of awareness. Not an object in time and space. This formless, invisible awareness. The mind may say, oh, who cares about that? But the mind just babbles stuff. Thoughts that have no significance. Like the glitter of the firefly on a summer night. What is it that perceives? What is it that is right now? This I, the self. Which is formless. Check it out. Can you burn the fire? Can you tear the sky? So allow yourself to sink deeper and deeper in being, not knowing. You don't need to know what that is. To not hold on to anything. Allow yourself to not hold on. Check it out. To be like the wind. What moves the wind? To completely not know. And the space is open, available for God's visit. You make yourself available. To be completely vulnerable. Waiting without waiting. Everything that I speak, you already know. How can you not know yourself, being that you are yourself? Just remember that the self is not a thing. In reality, there are no things. Only reality is. Only being is. This ordinary awareness is imbued in being. They're not two. Being awareness. reality, consciousness. Sat Chit. So if you have any questions, anything that you want to explore, just raise your hand. Make sure you unmute yourself. Hi, Floyd. I don't see you. Okay, here you are.
Okay. I just wanted to not be the first question, but there did seem to be anyone. So one of the questions, I think it bothers everyone, but I've also realized that at satsangs, they are, I think now most satsang teachers, they ban people from asking about relationships, about, because relationships bother most people, the existing relationship or having a relationship. This question always bothers a lot of people. So, and for me, yeah, it is sort of sometimes, I know that a relationship is not required to make me happy, but then there will still be some kind of chasing or some kind of restlessness around people or around, a relationship. And usually we are conditioned to believe, even if we have good spiritual teachers or uh, even if we have good friends, we think that, okay, I should find that soulmate or find that one person, uh, like, like a romantic connection or something like that. So, uh, yeah, and I understand that Ramana says, that if relationship, then in deep sleep, you cannot take even the person who's closest to you. So, but how do we look at this from your perspective of, causeless peace?
Right. Well, relationships can be enjoyable and they can be painful. Um, they can be opportunities for learning, for growth. It's part of the human dynamic. We're a tribe, we don't exist on separate islands, we're a colony. And part of the dynamics of the human organism is to be interacting, in various relationships, including romantic ones, of course. We're also wired for procreation, so there is also that element, that we find partners to procreate, and also besides procreation, to celebrate, to explore friendly relationships, and to explore sharing in more intimate ways, than others. So, but in terms of happiness, nothing can make you happy. No thing, no relationship, no fortune, no winning the lottery or getting the greatest job. Nothing can make you happy. Things can only invite you to understand that your happiness resides in desirelessness and not in desire. Because in desire, there is a tension. There is something missing, seeking, trying to find a strategy to achieve your goal, whether it's a relationship or whatever. And this tension is, it's not necessarily unhappy, but it's a tension. The unhappiness in the tension is to believe that happiness can be achieved in the phenomenal realm by having a healthier body or a good relationship, having a partner that loves you as much as you love them. No, it's nice to have that, of course. It's beautiful to have a very harmonious relationship. But the harmonious relationship is only harmonious because you have an understanding about causeless happiness, you and your partner, or just to various degrees. There is an understanding that happiness does not is not a byproduct of a relationship. So in a relationship, you will experience disappointment if you are expecting that the relationship is going to make you happy, right? I am not, of course, talking about, I'm not anti-relationship, not at all. Just saying that expecting the relationship is going to deliver that which your heart desires above all, that's being misled by your mind. In a relationship, often your button gets pushed. You're okay by yourself, more or less. Well, that's not so true. When you're alone, you want to be in a relationship. When you're in a relationship, you want to be alone. But in a relationship, you're with somebody very different from you, different habits, different ways of perceiving things, different conditioning. And sometimes it pushes your button. And so there are two levels of irritation in relationship. There is the common irritation by having two different people with different habits, coming together. One person likes to, cook salty food. The other person likes sweet food, or one person likes to wake up at 6, the other person likes to wake up at 9. These are like irritations that you can deal with somehow in the relationship. But there are deeper conflicts that can arise in relationship, which have to do with the sense of me. Like I want you to fit within my, whatever that is, my ideas about how things should be. I have certain expectations from you, and I hold on tight to these expectations because they're my sense of self. My sense of self often resides in the mind and, of course, in the feeling state. So there can be a challenge, a much deeper challenge to your sense of self, to your egoic sense of self in a relationship. So it's good to approach a relationship with the understanding that you're relating consciousness to consciousness. You're relating not just at the phenomenal level, but there is another level at which you're relating, which is noumenal. Like right now we're talking, here, there is a noumenal connection, which is, we can point to it as understanding, for example. That has nothing to do with where you are, what is your culture, where I am, what is my culture, what are my habits, what are your habits. So there's a relationship. Relationship is in its bulk noumenal, non-phenomenal. So to have that understanding that, in fact, your relationship with the other is your relationship with God, is your relationship with yourself. It's only one self. When I say God, I don't mean some God out there, but it's consciousness to consciousness. That's a very interesting way of looking at the relationship. How? What is Magdi talking about? What does that mean? Yes, for you to explore. If it makes any sense, that's interesting to explore. I invite, people to, at least here, who are interested, in this, the topic of love and peace and causeless happiness, to come to the understanding that there is a level of relationship that you do not perceive through the senses, which is the truer relationship. You're relating with yourself. So how do you relate with yourself? You get irritated with yourself. You get impatient with yourself. You want yourself to be different than what it is. You want yourself to give you something that you're missing. You're relating with yourself. How do you relate with yourself? You only relate with yourself as one. One meaning no division, nothing lacking, nothing missing. Which means you're already fulfilled. You're already fulfilled. You're not waiting for the other to fulfill you in some way. You're already fulfilled because you're relating with yourself. Wow. Why am I relating with myself? No, why not? It's fun. You relate with yourself all the time in your night dreams. You create stuff out of yourself, and you're relating with your night dreams. You're traveling, you're having relationships, you're working, you're dancing, whatever you're doing in your night dream, you're relating with yourself. Right now, in this waking state, we're relating with ourselves. Well, we have to come to that understanding, of course. Once we come to that understanding, it's beautiful. Because then I love you as myself, of course. It's effortless because you are myself. I relate with you in honor and respect and friendship and kindness because you're myself. It's beautiful. I don't get jealous or angry or irritated. Of course, irritation can arise because we're conditioned in the realm of separation. We're conditioned to experience each other as separate. I want you to be this way. Why are you acting like that? So there is conditioning already in the body mind. In a way, we're deconditioning the body mind. We're inviting the body mind to relax all its tendencies, all its muscles, to sort of dissolve in presence, in peace, in love. So relationship is a sort of a school in a way, or a laboratory. Yeah, it can be challenging. It can be challenging because we have our conditioning. But when our conditioning is on pause, when you press the pause button on your story and your history, your belief structures, and all your narratives about yourself and your family and your tribe and your culture, but what all the BS, when you press that pause button, it's just presence. It's availability, friendship, listening, sensing, exploring from a fresh new place of availability to do, to understand, to discover, to learn, to grow. Yeah, we have our habits, you see, and these somehow they're part of the me structure. And in relationship, you come face to face with the me structure. Well, welcome to the world of relationships.
And the Tantra Satsang next week. Yeah. Mahasi, I had this idea that, as you said, it's a noumenon phenomena. Noumenon, not phenomenon.
Yes.
I think Ramesh Balsekar also used this term, noumenon. So I thought earlier that, if I find someone who's spiritual, if I find someone who has similar interests, similar quest for truth, that it would be, kind of easier to get along with them and get into some kind of relationship. But I realized that it's actually worse.
It could be the opposite. It could be that the most quotes unquote progress you will make will be in a relationship from hell, You never know what can trigger your understanding, and you're dropping and you're releasing. It's not necessary that being with somebody similar to you has the same love of truth that will work the best for you. You never know. At some time, that's what would work. But some other time, it could be very challenging relationship that works best for you. Whatever relationship is appearing to you that you find yourself engaged in, there is something there for you to work on, to understand, to release. I'm not advocating being stuck in a relationship from hell, but I'm just saying that even relationships that come to you from left field, seemingly, they're not coming to you from left field. They're coming to you directly from the source. So the understanding that everything that you experience is coming to you from the source, that understanding can invite you to take a close look rather than to complain, argue, and wonder why is God punishing me, No. So, just if you're interested in relationship, just be open for relationship without grasping. And it's challenging to also take a look at your expectations, because they're within you and your expectations, and there's a form of anxious aspect to expectations. But to be open and available and leave the rest to God. You send a message, hey, I'm available. So that message is received. And we'll see the response.
Yeah, I think it's like what Rumi says, close the language or open the love door.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Is loving everybody. Is it something we love in everybody, which is their true nature, their essence. No matter what is on the surface, is something deeper within everybody that we can love. We just have to sort of not get stuck in the surface layers of conditioning of the mind. Have to sort of go a little deeper and find that place where we both find this peace, this beauty, and this love. It's completely free of judgment. Of course, there's no judgment in love, right? No judgment. So there's a surface layer. I am this, I am that, and I like this, I like that, and I don't like this, I like that. But if you go just pierce through that, you will find the love. It's our true nature. And it's so beautiful to love and be loved unconditionally. Meaning not to be judged, not to be placed under constraints, and it's challenging. Especially when we come from cultures, and all of us, we have our culture. Oh my God. How to behave, how he must behave, how she must behave. It's finding our way around all of that, and in the midst of all of that, sometimes we have to put up with stuff, so okay, big deal. Not to be so, not to make a mountain out of a mole, not to make a big deal out of that stuff. To be fluid, to be flexible.
But I think some people, again, it is conditioning. It has nothing to do with the essential nature. But because of the conditioning, there are certain intricacies, like maybe it's easier to understand and do daily things like living, eating with people from the same culture
Yeah.
can be sometimes easier. And also, I know some couples, maybe they are mixed, mixed culture. So they would take, like, especially in Tiruvannamalai, or even while traveling, they take two apartments or two houses so, so that they have enough time to
Yeah.
meditate and,
Yeah.
do thing and not get too
Right.
engaged.
Yeah. There are many possibilities, and there are many formulas, it's where is more and more freedom, today's culture, at least in certain parts of our society, for people to explore various ways of, being in relationship. Sure.
But to believe there is some kind of spiritual level means ultimately there's no level, everyone has that, But in terms of walking towards, because there's 99.9% of the world which may be not interested in satsang or meditation and other things, like maybe prayer also, they may not be interested in any of that. So are there levels once you enter this? Are there, like, do you see that there are some kind of levels, or someone is more evolved than others? Because like someone like Sri Aurobindo would say there's evolutionary enlightenment. It never stops. So is there level, and does that level also affect how we can relate with someone? Because I don't know, it's a egoic thing or what it is, but I feel like, I've never found someone who can get me, like where I'm at on my journey. I cannot find kind of
Yeah.
person. It's like always they won't understand and that kind of thing.
Right. Of course, I mean, first, in the absolute sense, there are no levels. In reality, it's all one ocean, but there are, yes, different currents in the ocean. There are, you will find some people who are more easily irritated than others. You may find some that are more peaceful, that somehow there is a certain stability in the way they live, the way they interact, and the way they react. Some are more easily irritated or triggered. So yeah, you could say there are differences between how people relate. You take a look at yourself, you know. You may find that in the past you used to get more easily triggered, and maybe now much less so. So of course, these are two different quotes unquote level, you could say. But the understanding about your true nature, about this formless reality, as this understanding deepens, and as this understanding becomes your life, you are no longer the same person. So when you meet people who you sense the peace within them, you feel it, and the friendship, the ease of relationship, or the ease of being, you are drawn to that because you experience the freedom, you experience the non-judgment, you experience a lot of flexibility in how you can relate, you see, and innocence in how you can relate. You can sense sometimes when you meet somebody that the degree to which they're close or the degree to which they're open. Of course, it can change over time, but because it's not hidden, you know, the way they even move, the way their body language, and of course, when they express their thoughts and their opinions, you can sense the degree to which they're flexible or open, degree to which they're fluid, let's say. So yeah, the more transparent a person is, you can say, okay, that's a level which differs significantly from somebody who is deeply rooted in their belief structures and their judgments and their opinions and their views. So yeah, these are degrees of understanding, degrees of transformation that occur as a result of level of understanding. The higher your level of understanding about truth, about life, about reality, about relationships, the more harmonious, the more ease you experience, and more freedom you experience.
And what I was asking in terms of levels is, let's say this guy here is moving towards truth. I'm moving towards truth, the way we say it. And someone else is moving towards truth. So is it necessary that they have to be on that same or similar level on that journey towards truth? Maybe I'm not saying in terms of practices or...
We are all seeking the same thing. All seeking happiness, freedom. We're all in our own way. Some are seeking happiness through sexual relationships. Some are seeking happiness through gathering money and power. Some are seeking happiness through pleasing their family or whatever. We're all seeking the same thing. And some have come to an understanding that what they're seeking is not available to them in the phenomenal realm, but is available to them nominally. That's quite a shift. That's a significant turn, where rather than looking outwardly at the world, body, mind, to satisfy you, to give you happiness, now you're contemplating the source. In the contemplation of the source, of course, there is a whole journey of levels of understanding, various insights, various revelations that make you more and more clear, or that bring more and more clarity about the self, about your true nature, about causeless happiness. So you relate with whoever appears to you. You don't pick and choose who to relate with. It appears to you, and you can at that moment make a choice of to what level you want to relate with this person, and whether you want to relate with this person any further. How possible is it for you to relate? How open can you be? Because, of course, it's very lovely in relationships to be open, to be free, right? That'll be fantastic. But sometimes when you are in a relationship and you're open, you find the other person coming with a hammer or a stick to, right? So then, yeah, you may pull back, or you may explore how to relate with in such a relationship. So I'm not sure if I answered your question.
The only thing I wanted to ask, which, is like, say, the journey of life has brought me to a certain understanding. Means, of course, there is no time, no thought, but let's say the story.
What is this me?
Yeah, I'm talking about the character right now. In terms of characters in the relationship, because we have to think of two characters in the relationship. So, do these characters have to be on level?
Right. But at the same time, we need to really be clear that a character of, hold on.
Magdi is getting the Zen stick.
So what I was saying is that you can't, what is the expression, have your cake and eat it too, or something like that. You can't at the same time buy into the me character, the story, the me story, and at the same time have the understanding that in reality, there is no, in reality, in truth, there is no separate character anywhere. I mean, at some point, you have to own that. Oh, you have to take it on that you have to assume that fully. It's like you're taking half a bite. You're taking half a bite of the cake. You're taking the bite, but you're not chewing it and swallowing it. You're not. You follow what I'm saying? I can stay with you in this conversation about me and somebody else, etc. Yes, I'm available for that, but also it's really important that at some point it's like you got a pair of shoes, you just bought a pair of shoes and you put them in the closet, and of course they're yours, they're in your closet, but of what use are they? You have to wear them when you go to the market or when you go to work. You have to wear those shoes. You follow? So
That's where I get up.
Otherwise, your mind is going to continue to engage in the illusory conversation, or in the conversation about illusory characters. And so you're going to engage more and more in a conversation. It's just illusion, right? So I'm inviting you to just chop it at the root. Because otherwise, the mind, the me and you mind, is always there, available to engage. Okay, well, what if he comes with this understanding, I come with that understanding. What is this I? What is this I? Yeah, you see, I is this invisible, formless awareness, that which perceives right now, has no name, is not called Floyd. Floyd is the name of the body. Floyd appears to you. The body appears. You look in the mirror, you feel hunger, you feel tired. All these appear to you. To you, you being what? You being this awareness that has no on-off switch. It's on 24/7. So now, ask me your question.
Yeah, so that is the essential part that I'm not convinced, because in the story, because there's always this talk that, okay, in the story, this is happening, and truth is not the story, and the story is not the truth. So if there are these, two ways, like we deal with things, then it is duality. It is not non-duality.
Okay, well, let me answer that. The story appears within reality. It's not that there is a story which is real, blah, 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 and there is reality. No, the story appears within reality. The thoughts, beliefs, the opinions, the sensations appear within consciousness. And they appear out of consciousness, and they are made out of consciousness. Because ask yourself, can you separate consciousness from the thought? What would a thought be without consciousness? can a thought appear or exist, or whatever the word is, without consciousness, without its essence?
No.
No.
Mhm.
So it's not that there is duality, there is the me story, blah, 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 and there is consciousness. No. No, it's not duality. The fact that there is a me story does not mean duality, because the me story, the belief in the me, appears within consciousness, because what would be the belief without consciousness? It, can you believe that the earth is flat without consciousness?
Mm.
This is why the sages say there is no duality anywhere. There's never been duality. There will never be duality. There's no. This is the big revelation of the one reality, non-duality, Advaita. So, so if you become convinced, if that becomes clear to you, I don't mean convinced. I mean, if this understanding becomes yours, then stick with reality, with the understanding that the storyline is actually made out of reality, that the capital is reality. Stick with the capital, stick with the absolute, stick with that which is changeless, with the understanding. I'm not trying to say let's get rid of form and let's get rid of thoughts. No, I'm just saying the understanding that the reality of all form is one reality, consciousness, is an important understanding. Stick with that understanding, stick with reality, rather than sticking with my narrative. Because my narrative changes all the time. Change all the time. If the body is drunk, for example, it's totally different thoughts and perceptions and sensations. What I'm saying is that the mind, meaning that which appears, is phenomenal and subject to conditions, subject to many conditions. That which is changeless in your experience, that which is and cannot be, that which is eternal, that which is not subject to beginning and ending, which is not subject to birth and death, that which is real, that which is truly you, truly the self, is consciousness, is noumenal. And this does not mean, again, duality between phenomenal and noumenal. No, no, because the substance of the phenomenal is noumenal. The wave is made out of water. The current in the ocean is made out of the ocean. It's not there is a duality between the current in the ocean and the ocean. Right?
Yeah, that also brings another, I don't know, it's an idea. It may be seen as an argument, but I don't think it's an argument. But it's like if this character is from the reality, right, is come from the reality, and this play is part of the reality, then why not take this play seriously? You know, when you're on the stage, why not take the just be the character, and why to think that, oh, okay, this is the stage or this is the screen?
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, uh, when you're on the stage, you're the character. You know,
Yeah.
I'm Magdi, the father of Chloe and Julian. I live in Temecula. I'm the husband of Tara. Yes, I'm the character. I recognize that. I recognize that the character is very specific. This body mind is not Floyd, and so I don't go to, oh well, I am consciousness, so therefore I'm Floyd, and I live in India, and I have an understanding of many different. Like I speak different language. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. It's not like knowing yourself as consciousness erases the mind, erases the mind. It erases ignorance. It doesn't erase the mind. It erases the belief that I am separate from you, that I exist as a physical entity, that my reality is a physical entity. It removes that belief, but the dream goes on. I still speak English. I don't know how to speak, French or German, or I know how to speak French, but German or Italian, and there is still that. It remains actually in the absence of ignorance. This phenomenal realm becomes so much sweeter, free and happy and light-hearted and childlike, fearless. But it's still Megdi. It's still Megdi. This body, his brothers are still the same brothers. When they call me and say, "Oh, hello, Sammy," I don't say, "Hello, who are you?" No, say, "How are you?" I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, like now I don't have this idea, but for some time I had this idea that I don't know if it was Eckhart Tolle or it was someone else who said that, after my realization or whatever it was, that now I float through the world without thoughts.
Without thoughts.
Without thoughts.
I mean, how could he go to a meeting without a thought that the meeting is at 4:00 and he has to take Uber at 3:00 to?
No, I don't remember if it's Eckhart Tolle or it was someone else, but it's like, essentially whatever thought comes or whatever I'm reminded, a few thoughts come which are only for the functioning, but otherwise there's absolutely like I'm just floating through life, and I don't know. So is that the kind of experience?
Yes. One moment.
Yeah.
So, concerning thought, in ignorance, we believe that the source of thought is a person, the thought is personal. And so there is within our thoughts what we refer to the me thought, the I thought, that there is a personal self who is the doer, who is the chooser, who is the subject, the personal self. In wisdom, thought is revealed to be the universe thinking. So You if you take a close look at a thought, you find that it is difficult to separate the thought from anything else. In other words, it requires a thought to separate a thought. It requires a thought to make a thought. And how to say that? Sometimes we say that there are no thoughts because thoughts do not exist on their own. We never experience a thought of its own, like on its own. We have to sort of focus on a thought, like today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. We have to focus, say, okay, today is Tuesday. It's as if we pulled out of the totality a thought. But when you take a closer look, you will find that a thought is just consciousness. In fact, there is only consciousness. There are nothing else but consciousness. It's all consciousness. This understanding can be spoken to state that this is the end of thinking. This is the end of thought. So you have to understand what is being shared. What is being shared is that all is consciousness. A thought is consciousness. A perception is consciousness. A sensation is consciousness. So therefore, all is consciousness. Why speak of a thought, of a sensation, of a perception, when everything is consciousness? Why speak of a current or a wave if everything is water? It's all water. This would be a more correct way of understanding what is meant by, he said Eckhart Tolle, I don't know that quote, I'm just speaking, this would be more the understanding. But sometimes I also say there is no thinking, it's the end of thought. And at the same time, I say, of course, thinking is going on. And today, my brother is coming to visit. I have to prepare the room, the guest room, etc., etc. That's thinking, right? These are thoughts. But these thoughts are void of ignorance. That's very important to understand, because non-duality is about the end of ignorance, the revelation of one reality. And also, these thoughts are like dreamlike. Like in your dream, there are a lot of thoughts that happen in your dream, right? But when you wake up, you realize that the substance of these thoughts was like empty. It's in a similar way. So use the waking state.
Yeah. So are you saying the working mind is there and the thinking mind has this distinction which Balsekar makes between working mind and thinking mind? Thinking mind subsides and the working mind remains.
No, I don't make this distinction. I don't know the difference between working mind.
Like, for example, you have to arrange the room for your brother. That's the working mind.
And what's
like if you're thinking that, oh, why don't I have, Julia Roberts as my wife, or why don't I have this car?
Right.
That is thinking mind.
I got you. I don't use these terms. I understand what you're saying now. I prefer to speak about ignorance, meaning the I thoughts that are contaminated with the me belief, and thoughts that are not contaminated with the me belief. Okay? There is no thinking mind, and I'm not talking about Pascal's teaching. I'm not being critical in any way. I don't, just saying that there is no mind, in fact. There are contaminated thoughts, Why are you doing this to me? How come Robert isn't my wife?
Yeah.
And there are thoughts that are not contaminated. Gee, it's time for me to go shopping, or I need to take my car to the mechanic, or gee, I'd love to meet Floyd and invite him over for dinner. These are non-contaminated thoughts.
Mm.
And we're talking about freedom from the virus, the me virus. There is such a thing as coming to such a level of understanding that the me virus can no longer, there is nothing to feed that virus. It no longer has nourishment, and it dies because it has no nourishment. Okay, Floyd?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marty. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the question. Okay. Any questions? I find that I enjoy seeing you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice to see you. Mm-hmm. We are beautiful, aren't we?
Yeah, Magdi, that beard looks really great on you. So I just wanted to, since we're talking about beauty here.
I see that George is doing some work on his own there. Yeah. Well, okay. Very lovely to be with you all. I embrace you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Wish you the best. Okay.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank everyone. Yes.